And the next one is Oded from
Yeah.
Akeyless, the awesome company, showing us how to stop the hassle of SSH keys by using SSH certificates. And I give your slides, and everyone do go on.
Okay, thank you, Andre. Thank you very much, guys. Happy to be here with you. My name is Oded. I'm the CEO and the co-founder of Akeyless, a Vault platform for secrets management and remote access. So we're going to talk to you about stopping the hassle of SSH keys by using SSH certificates. So what's so bad with SSH keys, right? You need to take care of them. Actually, that's the real problem. You need to deprovision them. You need to take care of it whenever a new employee coming up, a team member that leaves the company. Any resource that is there, you need to provision the SSH public key and so on. And the best part, or the worst part, is that whenever you have any regulation, standard, compliance, whatever, you need to do some kind of a cleanup projects, and you don't know exactly who has whatever SSH key pair that you might have within your Linux server. Anything. So if someone loses it again and again, there's a problem. This is security-wise. You need to take care of, stolen cases where someone has SSH keys. You not necessarily know exactly where those public keys are. In terms of auditability, you don't necessarily know who did what because there are the phenomena of shared SSH keys with a team. And obviously, right, it's a problem. Basically, when they are being stolen, you can't really know exactly when. So you won't necessarily know that sometimes those SSH keys were stolen. So the good part and the good news that there is a better way, much better way, that is currently being used by large brands, such as the one that you see in front of you. And those are being used in the last few years now. So SSH Certificate was presented in OpenSSH 5.4. That was a long time ago. But it seems like that although it does have a lot of pros, like, as I've mentioned, there's hassle-free, right? They are self-destructed. So SSH certificate, they do not need to provision them or to do any deprovisioning. They require a very simple line of configuration in order for you to do that, and I'll show you some of that stuff. And they are short-lived, so they expire automatically. So if you provide someone with an SSH certificate, it is only for a certain session. Now, despite all of that good stuff, it seems that not everyone are using it. And the reason, most probably, is because of a bad PR. No one really PR'd very well SSH certificates. And I think, or it seems like, it's as a result of having a need for having some understanding with PKI. But that's just old news, guys. It turned out to be very, very much easy to start working with SSH certificate, although it does require some understanding with the infrastructure. I'll show you some of those open source solutions, and I will provide you more links for you to further go. So just as a familiarity, if you want to know better, SSH certificates, they are basically a file, right, that are saying who is the one that wishes to access, okay? Who's the certificate authority that was signing that particular SSH certificate? And number three, what's the expiration? How much time do I have to use with that SSH certificate? And the best practice would be to have as short as you can. There are two advanced features within SSH certificate that speak about the restrictions. Basically, a certificate can say that you are allowed to use only a certain local user or run a certain commands. But that's for more advanced privileged access scenarios and so on. In terms of prerequisite to work with SSH certificate, you would need to do two steps. One is to set up a basic certificate authority. You can do that with SSH Keychain, by the way. It's very easy, just as a very, very easy to work with. It's very basic, and you also need to take care of your private keys. Okay, you need to put it in whatever KMS that you're using. Please don't forget about that. Otherwise, it is all not very secure. Number two, you need to configure your target host, the server itself that you're trying to authenticate with, to trust the certificate authority, which is basically one configuration, as I've mentioned, trusted user certificate authority keys, and that's the public key that the certificate authority was created. So those are the prerequisites. That's it. And now, how the login would look like, as you can see, a user, which can be you or any one of your team members, basically asks for a certificate from the certificate authority that you just installed. That certificate authority would sign that request and would create for you a certificate. That certificate will be provided then by you to the SSH. The regular SSH command would be provided with SSH certificate directly to the target host. The target host would be able to validate the certificate using a certificate authority public key that you have just configured in the previous slide. And that's it. It's a successful login. Now, before I'm going to talk about advanced things, let me show you exactly. Do you see my screen, by the way? Can you see my the CLI right now? I believe so. Yeah, so this is the CLI, and this is just an example of exactly how does it look like. Okay, so this is just a script that I've made, but basically it uses the OpenSSH, and this is an IP that I'm trying to log into. So right now, I'm not providing any private key whatsoever. So we have connected that in my script. I've done some advanced things, and I've connected that with an Okta. So an identity provider would basically provide the identity, and then I would get that SSH certificate. So I did not authenticate using any SSH key, as you can see, and but instead I was authenticated via Okta. My Okta token was presented to the certificate authority, in that case Akeyless, in that sense, and then I was provided with an SSH certificate. That certificate I was using in order to log into the target host. This is basically how it works. And of course, if you would like to see the configuration itself, as I've mentioned, trusted user CA keys is already there. So after we talked about that, let's go back to where we've been, just to wrap up the advanced issues. As you can see, we can talk about it in another talk. Who's allowed to issue certificates? How does the authentication works with Okta? How does authorization work? How can you protect your CA private key? And the really advanced things with your security guys is how to record the SSH session. Those are the resources and open source projects that I will share with you later on. That presentation will go up for you to be used, and you're most welcome to ask any questions. Thank you very much for your time, and I'm here for your questions.
Thank you very much, Oded. It was a really nice talk, reminding us that everything is all about trust. Yeah, from passwords to certificates to SSH. Thank you. Have a good day.